FBI whistleblowers testifying before the House subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government.
Now, you've probably seen a lot of the headlines about how it was chaotic and there was fighting between Democrats and Jim Jordan. But don't let that distract you from the critically important issues at hand.
When citizens in this country get to a point where they can call the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world on their neighbor just because they disagree with them, that is chilling.
Groupthink should not be an ethos championed in an investigative organization. To shut down differing viewpoints is the end of any analytical or investigative body.
To all our whistleblowers, yes or no, do you believe that the retaliation pattern has a cooling effect on other agents from coming forward or speaking up? Yes or no? Mr.
Yes.
O'Boyle.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you believe that the FBI is purposefully hostile to you for that reason, to keep agents from speaking up?
Yes.
Yes, without question.
Yes.
For more, let's bring in Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, thank you so much for being here. We talk about the rot within the FBI and the complete lack of trust outside the FBI by the American people. Is the FBI beyond repair?
Well, certainly the leadership at the FBI is beyond repair. That's for darn sure. And it's clear that we've got to root out the corruption there. Listen, whistleblowers, whether from the FBI or anywhere, are protected by law. And I've worked with many of them who have come forward to my office from different agencies. They have explicit legal protection. To hear that these whistleblowers have been retaliated against, that is a violation of our laws. And it's clear why they want to shut these people down. They want to turn off the information flow so the public doesn't know. That is wrong, it's illegal, it's corrupt, and there's got to be an end to it.
There has to be an end. And when we learned that the FBI has targeted pro-lifers and Catholics and parents who go to school board meetings to talk about transgender being taught to their children, it begs the question, what do we actually do? So, I mean, is the answer that we have to split up the FBI? We have to take some money away from the FBI? How do we get them under control? Because it seems like the rot has taken over the leadership, and it's really hard to get that leadership out.
Yeah, well, number one, the FBI director, Christopher Wray, has got to go. When you preside over your agency sending a SWAT team to pro-life demonstrators' homes and terrorizing them and their children, that is wrong. You should resign for that reason alone. The DOJ, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, he's got to go. When you treat parents like domestic terrorists because they show up at a school board meeting, you are the worst Attorney General in American history, which he is. So those guys have got to go. Start right there. And then we may have to look at, do we need to break up portions of the FBI? You know, I mean, are they not able to do the job? Are we going to have to give these law enforcement responsibilities, which are very important, are we going to have to give them to other agencies who will actually get the job done?
Well, how do you go about doing that? I know that some in the GOP are calling for major reforms, but how do you get rid of this leadership?
Well, I mean, when it comes to Merrick Garland, I mean, I think the Congress needs to send the message, and the House is positioned to do it in Republican hands, that we are going to launch a full-scale investigation of everything that's happening at DOJ. When you have the FBI and DOJ going out saying they are recruiting informants in Catholic churches, I mean, this is the United States of America. Well, how is this happening? And you know, if they're doing it in Catholic parishes, they're doing it everywhere. And he's lied about it under oath. So there ought to be consequences for that. He ought to be called on the carpet, called to testify. They ought to issue subpoenas to the entire higher command at DOJ and try to turn over every stone until they figure out who's been making these decisions, who's really in charge, who's violating the law. They ought to do the same thing with the whistleblowers. Who ordered the retaliation? They should find out. And then if the FBI can't do the job, we ought to break it up into give the law enforcement responsibilities to different agencies.
And the way you hold them accountable is you win elections. That's how you fire these two guys at the top of the DOJ and the FBI. But I want to pivot with the senator because we all know we're going to eventually get a debt limit deal. But that's not stopping some of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle from trying to use the negotiations to paint Republicans as extremists for their very, very rational proposal to deal with the debt limit. Listen to this.
In an unprecedented and outrageous way, extreme right-wing Republicans have hijacked the debt ceiling process and have said to the American people, if we don't get our way and impose savage cuts on the needs of working families, the elderly, the children, the sick, and the poor, If you don't do what we demand that you do, we are prepared to allow the United States government to default.
Senator, I know he's a colleague of yours, but to say that Republicans are asking for savage cuts when they've said, let's claw back the unspent money, let's cap the growth of discretionary spending at 1%, and make people who are going to get a handout, who are in the working ages of their life, get a job. Is that savage cutting?
You know, what I think is amusing, shall we say, about my Democrat colleagues there is what they are asking for is the president to try and use the Constitution, allegedly, just to ignore the statutory debt ceiling, just to say the law doesn't matter. Just go ahead and pay the bills, write checks as president without any authorization from Congress. So if you want to talk about an extreme measure, I mean, that's really, if he can do that, then we may as well just turn off the lights in Congress. We don't need him at all. Listen, everybody knows that Joe Biden is the one who has drugged this out and drug it out. The House passed their plan. McCarthy led on this. Joe Biden's the one who didn't want to negotiate, and now he finally is. So let's see what they get to. I think there will be a deal. I'll just add this, though. If they want my support for a deal, you know what I think we ought to do? I think we ought to put serious tariffs onto China to bring down our trade deficit, to bring down stop the stealing of our jobs and technology, and bring home good blue-collar jobs for American workers.
Senator Sanders is worried about the poor. It's their spending that has made the American people poor. You know, the average wage has fallen, adjusting for inflation, like almost 4%. So now he's worried about it. Senator, we're going to get to your new book in a moment, but Mayor Pete, that's what we call him around here, weighed in on the politicization of masculinity during an interview with Wired magazine. It was a warm hug, this interview. The politicization of masculinity is code for nothing in your life has to change. The problem is, of course, lots of things have to change, either because there was something wrong with the old way or because even as the old way seemed perfectly fine, it's not an option. Your reaction to this wisdom from Mayor Pete?
You know, I'll just say that I think the left's message to men for years now has been that if you're a man, you're part of the problem. If you're a man, you're automatically toxic, that traditional masculinity is toxic and makes this country a worse place. And nothing could be further from the truth. We need to send men, especially young men, just the opposite message, that we need you to be strong. We need you to stand up. We need you to be responsible. We need you to provide and protect. And if you do that, you can change the destiny of your life and your families and this nation. But the left has got it totally wrong.
They do. And this brings me to your book, Senator, which, by the way, I'm so glad you wrote it. I believe in masculinity. I believe in testosterone, all really good things. Your book called Manhood, The Masculine Virtues America Needs. In it, you blame idiotic policies for the U.S. masculinity crisis. Lay that out for us a little bit. What do you talk about in the book?
Well, listen, I talk about the left's war on manhood and really womanhood, too. Let's not forget, these are the same people who now say that biological men ought to be in girls' sports, right? I mean, they think that if you're a man, you're toxic, and if you're a woman, you're not real, you know, that anybody can be either. It's crazy. But what I talk about is we need to reclaim a vision of good, strong manhood in this country. And I look to our history. I look to stories from the Bible. I look to stories from my own life, mentors, coaches who are significant to me, and say, listen, let's look at what it means to be a good, strong man, and let's call men to go out there and get a job, provide for their family, get married, have kids, and be contributors, be independent, so that they can change the future of their families and, yeah, the future of this country.
And be contributors to the whole family in terms of, and I'll just share this story. I sent Sean a picture. I was out running in my little hometown over the weekend, Senator, and I saw dads coaching these little girls in softball. They were maybe 5 years old, and they were just being there. And that might be masculine, but it was also just being present, and that's part of what you're talking about.
Absolutely. You know, I wrote the book as a father. I've got 2 little boys and then a little girl as well. And for me, just thinking about as a dad, what's my responsibility? I think so much of it is showing up, you know, and I would just say to the young men out there, there's nothing that you can do with your life that is more valuable than having a family, than investing in your children. If you want to leave a legacy, get married and have a family and invest in those kids and then coach and mentor and basically live in a sacrificial way. We've got so many great examples of that in our history, from the greatest generation to the present. We should reclaim those and reclaim the strength of good masculinity.
You know, it's good men who have fought, bled, and died to secure our freedom. They built homes and skyscrapers, roads and bridges. They work in farms. They wear boots. And to demonize that by Pete Buttigieg himself, I mean, I don't look to Pete Buttigieg as a model of masculinity. I'll look to you, Senator, as opposed to Mayor Pete, who takes his Suburban into work, takes his bike off the back with his little bike helmet and pedals into the office. I'm not buying that. Senator Josh Hawley, I can't wait to read the book. Thank you for joining us. He's the author of the new book, Manhood, The Masculine Virtues America Needs. And America needs it now.